The Granite Mountain Trail is 8.6 miles round trip, elevation gain of 3,800 feet, with a high point of 5,629 feet. And you'll notice on this trail there's a lot of smoke in the air. This is due to the fires on the eastern side of the Cascades when I was hiking up Granite Mountain. Granite Mountain is a very popular trail, and although I arrived just a little after 8 a.m., as you can see, the parking lot was already getting very full. Fortunately, I found a place to park my car at the far end of the parking lot, and after locking it up and packing up my gear, it was time to hit the trail. I love seeing the early morning sunlight streaming through the trees as I start a hike. The Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest gets over 2.5 million visitors each year. And with over 700 miles of hiking trails ranging from easy to challenging like this one, there's plenty for people who love the outdoors to enjoy. So in this trail, in 4.3 miles, you're going to gain 3,800 feet in elevation. What this means, of course, is it's steep and there are a lot of switchbacks. The first switchback is about 1 mile from the trailhead, and all in all, you're going to go through about 60 switchbacks by the time you get up to the top of the mountain. While the trail is steep, it's very well maintained, nice surface, packed down dirt, very manageable, nothing too difficult really. Over the years, I've experimented with different water bladders, but I keep coming back to the water bottle. They're just more convenient. Water bladders, they have to be cleaned with a special kit. They're difficult to get water in when you're filtering. You don't know how much water's left in the bladder because it's in your backpack. I find that the water bottles are far more convenient and easier to work with. As you progress up the mountain, there are fewer and fewer trees, and the trail becomes more of a clambering over rocks than a real trail. And with fewer trees, this meant less shade. Fortunately, I brought along my umbrella. This is a hiking umbrella that attaches to the straps of my backpack. This was the first time I was going to use this in such conditions, and I wasn't too sure if it was really going to work out well for me. I'm happy to report that it did, although it did have a couple of drawbacks that I'm going to work on. I'm going to play around with it, mess around with it, and see if I can't make some improvements to the way it attaches to my backpack. But overall, this was definitely a winner on a hot day. There were a few more trees that I went past, but the umbrella didn't really catch on any twigs or branches or anything. I just kind of walked on by them and it slid underneath them or past them. So no real problem there. As I cleared the last group of trees, my destination came into view. Not too much further now. At this point you can take a side trail that will take you up to the Firewatch tower as well, but I stuck to the main route. And yes, Granite Mountain is aptly named. Those are granite boulders. Getting closer and closer with every step. There's the watchtower. I can actually see it quite clearly at this point. Almost there. Normally the sky would be a bright, brilliant blue, but with the smoke from the fires on the other side of the Cascade Mountains, I'm afraid it was hazy all across the mountains that day. The last quarter mile up to the watchtower is a little steep, but quite manageable. The history of the Granite Mountain Fire Lookout dates back to the early 1900s, when the U.S. Forest Service began constructing fire lookouts atop remote mountaintops to monitor and detect wildfires. Granite Mountain was one of the earliest lookouts established by the Forest Service. It was originally serviced by a cabin built on the summit. During World War II, the lookout served as an aircraft warning system. The lookout was decommissioned in 1970, but it was restored and reopened in 1994, and is now manned by volunteers, one of whom you'll meet in just a little bit. Just below the lookout foundations, I found a nice flat rock to sit on and enjoy the view and have some lunch. Unfortunately, the smoke did obscure the view, but still, quite impressive. After just hanging around and enjoying my lunch and the view for half an hour, I decided it was time to get going. As I was passing underneath the Firewatch station, the forest ranger Chuck called to me and said I was welcome to come up and have a tour. I was not going to pass up that opportunity, and the view, my gosh, it was amazing. The radio and the radio relayer are powered by these solar panels. What I found really interesting is that circular map in the middle of the room. This is used to locate where fires are, and an expert can actually use this to figure out not just where they are, how far away they are, and the size of the fire itself. This was a great hike, and being able to have a tour of the fire station from Chuck, well, that was just icing on the cake. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. And as always, my friends, I'll see you out there. Take care now.